also, for those that don't know about the Ghost Trash, because we do have listeners that, I don't know if Cutter is going to be tuning in anytime soon again, since episode 6, I think.
Deep cover.
But for those that aren't familiar with Ghost Track, according to legend, back in the 30s or 40s, a school bus full of children basically was crossing the tracks, and the bus stalled, and train hit the bus, and all the kids died. And ever since then, cars would drive up to the tracks. Was it you cut off the engine? You put the car in neutral, and then the children, you put beta powder on the bumper, and the children push your car over to the other side of the tracks to safety. And you get out and you check, and there's handprints everywhere. Well, of course, they busted that, like you said, optical illusion. And of course,
and they said it happened in other cities, in Utah, Austin,
exactly.
Whatever else.
So, it's just one of those common things, kind of like Mothman, I guess, or
Mothman,
Bigfoot.
That sounds awesome.
Well,
Tickle Monster.
Or the Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just to kind of fill people in on that kind of lore, one of my other favorite local San Antonio lore, and I grew up on this story, and I'm gonna have to look it up as I talk about it. But El Camaroncito,
Devil in the Dance Hall.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, Mike, we know someone who wrote a movie about that, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, you get to see that one of these days.
What's the name of it?
What?
The name of the movie.
The name of the movie? It's called Midnight Gods.
Excellent.
That's right.
Excellent script, by the way. Coming soon, hopefully, from Ortiz Media.
Hopefully.
No, but that brings up a fun
Score by
question.
juncture.
Unrelated is can the bands like Nine Inch Nails get away with doing like Score by Trent Reznor because you're that big, and otherwise it should be because Mogwai did the score right for the Zidane, and it was just Mogwai, but they're a band entity, whereas like Nine Inch Nails is one guy.
Yeah.
But I guess I would look at what I do as a band, even though I don't have like a specific group of guys. It's always intended not to be one person.
Yeah.
I would list any score work as the band name as well.
The band name.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I think so.
I thought one of the things we were going to do in the Halloween episode to keep it a little fresh too is talk about our scary movies. And is Halloween both of y'all's favorite holiday during the year? It's my favorite holiday by far of all of them.
My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. See, I love Thanksgiving.
I can eat, pass out, and then eat, and then pass out.
See, I love Thanksgiving as well. It's really great because it's truly all about the food. You're not really grateful for anything. You don't really give thanks.
Yeah.
Grateful for this beautiful America.
You're grateful every day, But Halloween's that one holiday that kind of, every major holiday starts way ahead in the stores, but it's the one that, when you're not in the store part, it actually is ongoing in your house. Mm-hmm. You've got the candy ongoing. I'm munching candy all month. I buy the candy well ahead in advance to pass out.
Oh, God,
the mini Snickers, the mini Twix, the mini Kit Kats, gone. Full bags. I'm probably gained 10, 15 pounds every October, every year, and then spend the next couple of months trying to drop 1/10 of it. But, of course, the decorations, seeing all the houses decorated. So it's easily my favorite year. But funny enough, I am not a scary movie person. I don't like them. And honestly, it's half of them are stupid, and the other half scare me. And I'm scared of being scared. And unless you guys want to come and cuddle me, because I need someone to take care of me. I need someone to make me feel. I need to watch them with the lights on during the daytime, with the windows open.
Rickle spoon you.
See, I can do that. But nighttime...
The stuff that scares me, I watch during the day as well.
Nighttime, with the lights off, with my curtains closed, and there's sounds going outside in the house, not going to happen. It's just, I'm not going to have a good night's sleep.
Then I can't show you that video of the hotel tonight. Then we'll have to wait for another time. Because that I saw at 2 a.m., just as I was about to try to fall asleep. And I did not sleep that night. But I'm not too much into scary films either,
So while we were on this little section here, because we'll get back to your
El Camaroncito.
So something we talked about in the spirit of our show here was your top 5 horror movies, which is interesting now. You guys say you're not big fans of horror, and I'm not either.
I can name 5 probably.
There's a million people out there that probably are more in tune and appreciate horror movies more than I do, even because me, like, I'm a chicken again. Like a movie like Paranormal Activity, I saw on Netflix at like 1 p.m, and I hate it. It's a terrible fucking movie. Like, you can't tell me it's a great movie, but it still creeps you out. It's still creepy.
Well, see, but that to me, that's where you've got 3 different groups of those types of movies. You either have the creepy ones that are just validly creepy. That's it. I wouldn't say they're horror films or they're scary films, but they're creepy.
Yeah.
Then you have what I would call your gruesome films.
Right, like torture porn,
Yeah,
hostel type bullshit.
they're not scary.
Cabin fever.
It's just gross and it's just stupid.
Saw.
Yeah, exactly. I can't get into any of those, and I know people love them. People love them. I'm not a big fan of those. And then to me, you have the classics that would be something that I would say was only scary because of the time of my life that I saw it when I was a kid.
Like what?
Like my ultimate favorite, Poltergeist.
Well, that's a scary movie.
I love Poltergeist. To me, that was
a PG movie. Somehow that scared the shit out of me.
Which one was it?
Skeletons in the swimming pool.
Yeah. What was number 2? Was number 2 when
Kate,
Coach vomited up
when he
the
throws
worm?
up the fucking worm out of the tequila bottle.
That freaked me the shit out,
like
dude.
the first and only time I ever ate a worm out of a tequila bottle. That's all I thought of. Was
yeah, exactly.
This is gonna happen. I'm gonna puke him up. He's gonna be under the bed and chasing around the fucking house trying to kill him.
That shit was crazy. And that little lady, the little old lady, creeped me out too. Even though she was a good person,
she was still creepy.
She was still creepy as hell. And then the priest.
Oh yeah, the guy the fucking old, what's his name? Kane.
Oh.
Is Kane? That was his name? Reverend Kane.
That
motherfucker.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Second one, and just more because of the idea of it, and of course.
So this is your list.
This is my list.
Okay, good. So
list.
Poltergeist is at the top.
Poltergeist is at the top.
Okay, so we're going down.
We're going to go down, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The next
You're
one
going
that comes
down.
to
Mario's
mind,
going
down. The next one that comes to my mind is Serpent. Wow.
Ooh, I suck my throat from my MacBook.
Sound effects by Ortiz Media. No. Serpent in the Rainbow. Have either of you ever seen that?
No. I saw when I was younger. Like, don't bury me.
Yes.
I'm not dead.
Yes.
That's all I'm trying to remember.
Bill, what's it? Bill
Pullman.
Bill Pullman.
Yeah, he's in Jamaica.
Or Haiti or something.
Yeah, Haiti with the zombie shit.
And the other dad from the Cosby Show. There were 3 dads. There was Cosby, his dad, and then the neighbors or somebody's dad. He was the voodoo.
The guy with the white hair?
No, that was his.
That was his.
That was his dad.
That was the. No, that was the. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Cosby's dad.
Yeah.
But no, the other guy with the short hair with the accent was the voodoo priest in Serpent in the Rainbow.
Yeah.
Creeped the hell out of me because the idea of the movie is that it's Haiti and
it's real.
That
movie's based on some real shit.
Reality.
Yeah.
But, this guy was a voodoo priest and he would bring people back to be his slaves.
Yeah.
And
with the dust, right? Like
dust. What of course now we're a little bit more knowledgeable as a culture, as a community, but we realized that it's blowfish toxin or whatever, and it brought them close to death, and then they buried them, and then they rose and they thought, I guess I'm a zombie. I guess I have to serve this douchebag.
Yeah.
But as a kid, that's scary as shit. Number 3, and only because I never watched the whole thing because it scared the shit out of me. Omen.
Oh yeah.
The pictures with the line going through people and then they would die. That was creepy.
Or he's the Antichrist, right?
Yeah,
like Damien,
right? Yeah, and the dogs. Like because of that movie, I was not a fan of. Was it not Rottweilers, but Dobermans? Right? Wasn't it Dobermans?
The ones protected him?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
They were like devil dogs.
Yeah.
So like I was never a fan of Dobermans. Now I'm cool with them, whatever. But as a kid, that freaked me.
We're cool.
We're on a first name basis.
So what are some of y'all's favorite movies you remember scaring the crap out of you that weren't intended to be scary movies? Like I was thinking about as a kid stuff I saw that when I was too young that I shouldn't have seen. That like now I go back and watch it and it's actually I want to pretend like it's so funny now, but actually there's a little part of the back of my head that's like that still scares the shit out of me. And I always think of Maximum Overdrive as one of those movies
with
that
the fucking Green Goblin.
The Green Goblin on the 18-wheeler was terrifying enough.
I've never seen that.
But then it's 10 times terrifying because it's a killer. Like it actually kills and there's blood in the movie. And I just remember being like
the fucking
scared.
lawnmower that runs over the little kid, and the fucking Coke machine that kills all those baseball players.
They show like dead children in the movie. It's nasty. And I remember as a kid, like, man, that freaked me the hell out. And I was all big into cars and trucks and toy trucks and toy cars and stuff like that as a kid. So I didn't want to play with that stuff for a while because I was like, oh no, it's going to come to life. But if you've never seen Maximum Overdrive, it's like the whole AC/DC.
Yeah, AC/DC soundtrack.
And Stephen King wrote it for the screen.
And directed it. Did he direct it too?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Right,
but man, that scared the shit out of me. That was terrifying. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't think it's meant as like horror, but it was meant to be.
Yeah, because it was a short story. It was in that.
It was in the collection.
Past Midnight. Whatever it is, something past midnight. Had a bunch of short stories in it. That was one of them.
Yeah, he had some other good ones.
I think they had some of the Cat's Eye stories in it too.
Yeah.
Cat's Eye freaked me out too with the damn bird pecking his the guy from Airplane, right?
pigeon.
That's who it is. The pilot from
He's on the
Airplane.
ledge, because if you walk the ledge, you can. He like owes him money or something.
And then, of course, who could forget the first Twilight Zone with John Lithgow in the plane?
Oh,
My gosh, man,
that was good. That's classic.
That'll keep you on the ground for a long time.
Well,
if you're the wrong age.
Watching the old one was who?
William Shatner.
Yeah, the William Shatner one. That was just comical at this point.
Yeah,
but the John Lithgow one. That's the good one.
Every time I get on a plane, I'm just waiting for that little fucker to come out. And I remember as a kid, I would play it up and be like, oh, he's funny looking. He's playing guitar. Like I would invent all these like versions of it that didn't happen. But it was just because I was so fucking
just to cope with
the
it.
lightning's hitting. He's like, yeah. He's like the lightning's hitting him. Then he's opened the window and he's got his hand on his face.
Yeah,
fucking bit. But
oh man,
that's a good one too.
What number was I on?
You were on.
Was
3.
I on 3?
You're on your 3. This is your 3 now. You just did Poltergeist and you did.
So you're doing your top
top
what?
Top 5.
Top 5 scary in order of scariness. I haven't said any top. I was just being random.
You can go either way, up or down, and it doesn't have to be like. It could be a shitty horror
order.
movie or your favorite horror movie or the best horror movie or whatever you want. But go
so
ahead.
the next 2 are 2 that gave me nightmares.
Wait, you did Poltergeist?
I did
for
Poltergeist.
Our fans, for the people out there. So
Yeah.
on Netflix.
Serpent and the Rainbow.
Serpent and the Rainbow. Next one. Third.
Only because I was like 5 or 6 when it came out. Maybe even it came out before, but I snug out of my bedroom to watch it, and my parents were like, you can't come out. Just stay in your room and go to sleep. We're going to watch TV. I'm like, okay, whatever, cool. And then I hear screams and whatever, so I run out to the living room without them knowing, and I'm behind the couch watching Werewolf in London.
Oh, fuck. Yes.
And it's animatronic moving.
Yeah. When it's in the fucking subway and the guy sees it.
Oh, dude. So that fucked me up. Like, I gotta legitimately say that fucked me up. We had a dog at that time.
Yeah.
After I saw that, I hate to say it because Cinnamon, I love you. I started throwing rocks at her because I thought she was. I thought she was a machine, not like heavy rocks.
This is
like
what
light
pushed
rocks.
Mario's
This freaked me out.
Anti-life campaign.
This freaked me out, dude. Like
that was a scary
little rocks.
Yeah.
I thought she was a robot.
Weird,
my
though.
parents actually had to explain to me like she's not. Don't
I hate you. Mario used to throw rocks at his dog.
That's brutal.
I was a kid. I didn't know any better. And then my parents explained, no, she's real. She's not a
werewolf.
A werewolf, you know.
Yeah.
But it really messed me up.
Beware the Moors.
The other one that goes hand in hand with that was because I would say in my memory within days or months of seeing one, I saw the other, which was the Thriller video.
Oh yeah, which was inspired by American Werewolf in London.
Exactly. And to this day, I gotta say, the makeup effects when he turns into the werewolf, still pretty awesome.
From the movie or from Michael Jackson?
From Michael Jackson.
Yeah. It's funny.
Because he looks fucking nuts,
and his
dude.
fucking yellow eyes.
Yes.
Fucking yellow
No, not
eyes.
as the zombie, but as the werewolf.
No.
Yeah.
When he turns at the end, he's got the yellow fucking eyes.
Oh, well, no, that last scene, last scene. But no, I'm talking when he
It's
wolfs
alright,
out.
baby. Let's get some duck butter in your ass.
What's the problem?
What's the problem?
That creeped me out. And the
I'll be walk across the land. But no, I was just...
of 40,000 years.
Oh, man. With every ghoul and... Yeah, like the zombies were fine.
Stinking stench of Stennis.
Oh, man, dude.
Smash.
Vincent
Yeah, Vincent Price.
Price was amazing.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
I almost said Vincent Pryor.
Original Fright Night terrified me.
Fright Night?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one, too.
That got me good.
I used to watch that.
I haven't seen the original. I've seen the newer one.
It's a lot. The new one's shit.
Because it was always
Colin Farrell with the new one.
It was always the best thing where there's like that twinge of like underlining sexuality with the vampire.
She's a virgin,
right?
And all that. And he's trying to get laid.
And that's Amanda Bierce that you're like, wow, she's so attractive. And,
chicken legs.
My gosh.
Chicken legs from Married with Children.
And
That's
that's
what he called her. He always called her chicken legs.
That's what's his face,
yes.
right? From Herman's Head.
Yeah, William Ragsdale.
And then Chris Sarandon.
Chris Sarandon.
Fright Night.
That's it's
see the
funny
original.
and it's scary as fuck. Like
I
when
need to
his
see the
buddy
original.
turns into the werewolf and he fucking has to stab him with the fucking like banister wood and shit.
I need to see that.
That's a creepy fucking movie. It's a lot. It's scarier than the new one.
Yeah.
The new one's more stylized, obviously, but like the original one's good.
I need to see the original one. But to top off my list, number 5, and not horror as in Halloween horror, but as in like legitimately like it freaks me out still. The original Jaws.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good inclusion because that is one of the perfect movies ever made.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And and I've gone swimming in the ocean, and I've reluctantly, like, I'll die. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm not a good swimmer. I would drown in a pool probably again. But, like, if I get in the ocean, I need to go swimming in the ocean. At the same time, in the back of my head, I'm freaked out the whole time. Like, I'm amped on this, like, oh, I'm gonna get fucking killed.
No, I feel you. Every time I go to the ocean, I love swimming in the ocean. I love getting in the ocean. And every time I get in the ocean, I go, I'm gonna get eaten by a shark.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for it to come. Yeah. I hope it's painless.
Yeah, exactly. I hope it just takes my head off.
Yeah, it never takes your head. It always takes your fucking leg, your foot.
Yeah,
some shit that's
something
that
you need.
Yeah,
you know,
and you'll live and just have a fucking leg anymore.
And then you'll be a story. You know?
Yeah,
like don't go swimming in that part of the. Yeah, so I guess that's my top 5, and then as far as just like honorable mentions, just for comedy's sake, I would say Monster Squad is one of my favorite.
That's a good one.
Kid movie kind of things, and then I guess Goonies for whatever that counts for being freaky or creepy or at least
Monster Squad's a good one.
I love Monster Squad, dude.
Yeah,
Man's got nards.
That's right.
Michael, I know you didn't say. I know you said that you're not a huge fan of horror films, but do you have a 5 or?
I didn't pre-show think of an actual list. I was just trying to name stuff off the top of my head. So,
does Maximum Overload fit in that list?
Maximum Load.
Wow.
Maximum Overdrive. My bad. It's right in front of me. I'm like, Overload. I haven't seen it.
Have you ever taken a maximum load?
Stay tuned for the porn episode much later down the road.
Exactly. A scientific exploration of education and introspection.
Chasing Amy. Just watch Chasing Amy. That's all you need to know.
Well, I'm just trying to go back off like childhood factor, but also I'm factoring in like legit now, like Blair Witch Project. Legit. As an adult, that was the first movie. That was the first movie that I'd been sitting in a theater, and it got me. I remember sitting there and being like, I am scared, completely like freaked out. Like Rick was saying earlier, like that was pre-internet, pre-hype, pre-whatever.
And you saw it early on.
Yeah,
and you didn't know all the bullshit that came afterward.
The Blair Witch Project will always have that place in my heart and my brain that just completely immersed me. And I don't know if you. It's that feeling in a movie where you go into a movie like, oh, it's just a movie. But by the time you're halfway through, you don't know you're in a movie anymore. You don't know. You don't even know you're sitting in a seat. You're in it. You're in there. Yeah. You're completely like Last Action Hero. You are in it, and you're part of it, and invested, and scared, and so funny enough now, like when I watch it now and I rewatch it, I look at it now. It's just an amazing movie. It doesn't, unfortunately. Well, see, I want to say it doesn't scare me, but that very last scene is pretty... Okay, so let me fix it and say, if I happen to be watching it at night and I'm by myself and it's too quiet, I can't do it. I got to go turn the light on. I'm like, So, Blair Witch for sure, man. That was legit.
You like run across the living room real fast.
I give honorable mention to like The Ring, because that was still kind of...
That was creepy.
It was creepy. Yeah, I wouldn't say legit scary, but it was creepy. It got me. Signs. That stupid scene when the alien shows up, catches you. Yeah, I was like, ah. So that was creepy as well.
That was good.
But those aren't top 5. But definitely Blair Witch gets a nod for a top 5 listing. Let me see. I don't have any memory. I don't think I've seen Friday the 13th. I don't think I've seen any of the Freddy's. I think I've seen the first Halloween, which is kind of disappointing because it's not really scary. So I guess I'd have to give Fright Night a shout out still.
That's a good one.
I'd have to say Maximum Overdrive freaked me out for a long time. So mentioning those 3 right there. That's going to come. Well, you know what? Honestly, Alien. First Alien.
Oh, yeah.
Scary.
Oh, yeah.
That's top 5 scary right there. There's nothing more terrifying to me than that scene in Alien. So Alien gets to be, even though it's not, there's another unintended horror movie that's not meant. That's sci-fi, right? And that scared the shit out of me. So that's a good one. That's 4 right there. Maybe the Care Bears movie where the book has that green face coming out of it.
I don't think I've seen the Care Bears.
That's
movie.
Pretty scary. I'm not kidding. That was scary. I don't know if it's top 5 scary, but that was pretty good.
How about a segment of film? How about Neverending Story with the Gomorrah?
That was scary. When I was a kid, that was scary.
That brought me back to Michael Jackson.
Coattailing you right there. There's my 5th is Wizard of Oz, the sequel. That's enough right there.
The one with Fairuza Balk?
That's the one with Fairuza Balk. That's the one with the lady with the heads. Terrifying. Yeah. And you know why it was terrifying? Because it coupled in Wizard of Oz 2, The Return to Oz or whatever, she's got those different heads that she puts on different heads or whatever.
Ew.
Well, I remember going into my grandfather's closet, it was my grandfather and my grandmother's room, and one of those forbidden things is like looking in drawers and things you're not supposed to look at. And my grandfather had some badass stuff in their room, and I'd open one of his drawers and there'd be something as simple as a polished perfect shoehorn, and then it'd be like a cigar box. But you open the cigar box and there's other stuff in there that's like a buck knife and all these cool stuff. So I opened their closet to look for cool stuff. Well, I look up in the top of the closet and it's my grandmother had some varying wigs, but the wigs were on those like white heads. Oh man, you see that as a 9-year-old, and then you see Return to Oz with the different heads.
Those white heads. So, my dad had those cowboy hats.
So there it is, man. Rounding it out, that was horrible. I might have a different list another day, but right now that's it.
Stephen King's It.
That's the first half.
Yeah.
First half.
Second
just
half is,
creepy, high creepy value.
Yeah,
and,
it's scary though.
Shining.
I'm not a fan of that movie.
Why?
I never saw it as a kid.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't experience. I wasn't interested, and I saw it recently because a friend of mine was like, "Oh, The Shining is so badass, you gotta wait so blah blah." And I watched it, and I was like, "Eh."
Yeah, as
and
an adult,
I even tried like watching the documentary, like The Room, whatever the room number is, where they're like exploring all the different theories.
Red Room.
The Apollo, fucking Apollo NASA connections and all that other shit. Like,
all that.
There's all kinds of like, everybody thinks there's all these like subliminal kind of messages in the movie that like
really
like it's back to the conspiracy thing that
we'll have to do a part 2 conspiracy thing.
That they said that like Stanley Kubrick like was the one that NASA hired to film the fake moon landing.
Oh yeah. And
that The Shining is a confession to that.
Oh really?
And there's a long documentary on YouTube about it.
Yeah.
And to a shout out to whoever made that shit. It's boring, but whatever. It's there. And there's all these like little things where it's like, oh, like the kid's wearing an Apollo 11, sweater, and there's all these symbols and all this shit. And it's him admitting that like it was fake. But it's a stupid conspiracy because they said that in exchange for shooting the fake moon landing, that NASA gave him these really highly advanced camera lenses that he used to make 2001: Space Odyssey.
Interesting.
So I've never seen that movie, so I don't know if it's worth faking a movie.
You've never seen 2001?
No.
I've seen it, but I don't remember it. It was a long time ago.
Anyway, so that's honestly, that stuff makes The Shining more. Or one of them is like it's a kind of an apology to like Native Americans for the genocide that white men committed against them, and in the light of that, I can appreciate it like 1% more, but it doesn't scare me. It's kind of a boring movie to me. To me. Now, as an adult, if I had seen it as a kid, and I'll touch on that with my top 5, but it'd be different. But
well, let's rush right into it. Top 5 and honorable mentions, or
and he'll put us to shame because he's probably thought about this for years and years, and I just made crap off the top of my head.
Me too.
If I could sit down and actually pre-visualize a proper list, although I'm pretty proud of what I just came up with.
I think it's good. Yeah,
but go ahead, hit us.
So I'm gonna say like.
Wait, are you looking at a computer screen?
No, I wrote a list earlier.
Oh, okay.
I told you guys I wanted to pre-plan.
AFI's top 5 scary.
No. I have my
I'm just kidding.
I have my little notepad.
Oh,
I'm just playing.
There's one creepy one I want to add to it, only because it started off as what I was going to think was going to be a great horror, and then just immediately dove into just stupidity. Was the one that we saw, the demon with the red face and black face.
Insidious.
That's
a scary fucking movie.
It started off being
but then
scary.
it goes like over the top.
Then it goes into his room, the demon's room, where there's like,
that still
let's cram every creepy thing we can into this one.
Like,
that's like stupid.
Yeah. And he's like fucking polishing his nails or something.
I was like,
shit.
As soon as that happened, lost me. I didn't.
It's still scary. I scared. The second one scared me too.
I haven't seen it because
creepy people.
Stupid.
Creepy shit scares me.
Yeah.
So like. When I was looking at my pre-show top 5 horror movie list, I was thinking about this because, again, I was a chicken. As a kid, I was a chicken. I cried very easily at movies. I was traumatized very easily at movies. I was scared of the dark until I was like almost too old to not be ashamed of it. So there's plenty of movies that scare the fuck out of me. Like the original like Nightmare on Elm Street scared the shit out of me. The second one scared the shit out of me, even though it's a terrible movie. It scared me. Poltergeist, because there's all the movies that scared me, that scared me. But then again, I was watching them. I was like 5 or 6 years old, watching them
because
too young to be watching shit like that on cable or whatever it was. So I'm kind of discounting some of that stuff because, I mean, a 5-year-old, if you fucking jump out of hallway in front of a 5-year-old, you're probably going to traumatize them forever. So so I'm kind of discounting that. So the stuff I'm referencing is a little bit more recent because it's stuff that I can appreciate as an adult, and as a kid probably would have freaked me out. So anyways, so my top 5, it's kind of not really in any order, but I'll just start with The Thing, the original Thing, or actually the second remake, I guess, or the first remake of The Thing, which
so
is
the color version,
the Kurt Russell one. Yeah, the Kurt Russell, Wilford Brimley, Keith David,
man with
version.
2 first names,
version. And as a kid, I remember I saw that on a tape. My stepdad used to have this very elaborate, ordered list of his VHS tapes. He had this VHS. This is 20 years ago, right? But he had actual printed out lists of horror movies, action movies, blah blah. And I remember as a kid, I would try to watch the horror movies, and I couldn't make it through all of them, but I think The Thing was one of them. And finally, I watched it one day, and at that point, when I was, and I was this when I was, probably 13 already, so it was old later on in life. Terrified me, and I thought to this day probably one of the scariest, creepiest movies I've ever seen. Even now, I mean, if you watch it now, it's the practical effects are still incredible and disgusting, and especially being a dog lover, when you see what happens to the 2 dogs in the beginning of the movie, and them having one of the dogs is terrified because the other dog is the alien, it's got the tentacles and it's absorbing the other dog. It's just this disgusting thing, and it's
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
You've got to see it. I mean, don't watch the newest prequel remake, whatever. It's terrible, unfortunately. But that one is great. And because it taps into it's a very simple story. It taps into something very simple, which is the unknown, which is what if the person in front of you is not who you think they are, and you trust them with your life because you have to, and they're not who they are. And on top of that, it's just a gory fucking movie. There's at one point, one of the guys has a heart attack. He has a heart attack, and the doctor goes to resuscitate him with
paddles.
The paddles. And when he goes to pump it onto his chest, his fucking chest opens up, and the shark mouth fucking opens up out of his chest and bites the guy's fucking hands off. Okay? And then they're like, oh my god. And then the guy who's supposed to be the guy, but he's actually the alien, is dying. His fucking head falls off the table and tears away from his body, turns into a fucking spider and runs off down the fucking hall. It's all this fucking horrible, disgusting, gory shit. But it's brilliant. But it's so especially probably seen it as a kid. Maybe not. You watch it now, it might have the same effect because your eye is different than it was when you're a kid. But it's still a great movie. Still creepy as shit. Still, and it ends with this kind of dot ellipse thing where you don't know what happens next. Yeah, it's not they defeat it, it's gone forever. It's an alien, but it's a shape changing alien that can mimic whatever biological matter that it absorbs, or living thing that it absorbs. So, anyways, that's definitely on my list because it's one of those that terrified me as a kid, and now again watching it now scares me. Probably the next one was Lost Boys, which came out I think it came out in '86, and this is the Coreys, the Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, Jamie Gertz, Jason Patrick. It was kind of that '80s perfect storm of '80s time period. And it was, it's a horror movie. It's classified as a horror movie, but it's also, it's
funny.
It's funny. It's got it's got funny stuff. Yeah, it's kind of elements of Goonies,
Frog
that type
Brothers,
of thing. Yeah, there's definitely funny parts, but it's a scary story, and it's the same deal. It's something that a lot of good horror movies touch on, especially ones that relate to kids, is that as a kid, feeling like you're disconnected from your parents and that they not only don't understand you, but that they can't help you. That whatever you're going through in your life, that you're alone. Yes, exactly. And
kind of like Monster Squad too.
Yeah, And that's that kind of thing that, like, Corey Haim's character, you know, he's kind of this innocent, dorky, very effeminate kid. If you look back, he has a Rob Lowe poster on his wall for some reason, like a sweaty, juicy Rob Lowe poster. And he even says, like, he goes to the comic book store, and the Frog Brothers are like, here, Dracula, you know, whatever the fuck, kill all vampires comic book. And he's like, I don't read scary comics, you know, because he's scared of that. It's not his thing, you know. He likes Superman and whatever. But that's the thing. It was just a scary movie because it's the same thing. It kind of like, it very cleverly taps into the transitional period between being a kid and being an adolescent or being an adult, where puberty and all these things happen, where there's that period as a kid where you're maybe like 12 or 13 years old, where you're kind of getting a little bigger, but you're not strong. Yeah. Strong in the way that you ever feel like you can defend yourself. Right. And there's always that kid who's maybe a year or two older than you that could beat your ass, and you know it. Yeah. And no matter what you do, you know you would lose in a fight. Yeah. And that's kind of that point that it kind of like captures. Is like, and you even see that with the Frog Brothers, where they think they're like, yeah, we're vampire kin here. We have, you know, holy water and the Uzis with the holy water and the stakes and all the shit. But when they actually face the vampires, they're like, oh my god, what the fuck do we do? And then, of course, the only one they're able to kill right off is like Marco, who's the little, like the little the vampire. Yeah, like that's the one they kill, like, you know. And after that, they're kind of overwhelmed too. Yeah. You know, like they have to get help, and then, you know, as it progresses, they have to help each other, and that's what the older brother has to help them. And and it's such a cool. I mean, it is a coming of age story, the same way so many '80s movies were that did it well. And of course, it has an incredible soundtrack. Oh yeah, as you know, Jamie Gertz at her kind of height when she was super hot, and she was hot, and it was just a cool movie. It was just a really cool movie. So I hold that deeply in my heart because I can still watch it and appreciate it. And I'm not really scared, you know, the same way I was when I first saw it. And I remember seeing it. Like, I remember on the corner of Bassey and West Avenue, there used to be a little tiny movie store. That's where we rent our movies from. And my cousin and my sister rented that one night. And I must have been 6 years old. They're like, we're going to watch this movie. And I was like, yeah, I'll watch it with you. I'm cool. And I was just terrified. Like, in the first scene where, like, you know, after they're at the carnival, and the security guard gets pulled up. Yeah, the security guard kicks them off the boardwalk, and then he gets taken or whatever, and then they kill the guy and his girlfriend, and they're reading the comics, and it tears her off into the night,
pulls her up into the sky.
I was just like, what? Like, no! Like, I was done. I was fucking done.
That's
you know?
Pretty awesome opening.
So it's just something that's always stuck with me. Another one, of course, I think you have to like a scary movie, but it was brilliant, and kind of the trailblazer was like 28 Days Later. Which kind of
that was awesome.
You know, I didn't grow up, you know, with like Night of the Living Dead or those kind of movies, because again, I was too scared and too young to really appreciate those kinds of things. But I remember when 28 Days Later, like much of a lot of people, is that it had kind of this vibe that other movies didn't have, which was it was shot in this way that you weren't used to see movies shot, which was on digital, and it was grainy and it was gritty and it felt real. And that was the first time that zombies ran like a motherfucker and screamed and fucking, you know, they weren't these like slow moving kind of things. And it was just brilliantly done, and it just really, really captured, you know, the urban isolation. And again, being alone and not having help and not being able to reason with the things that were kind of out there in the dark. And of course, a brilliant like fucking soundtrack too. And anyway, so that's a movie that always stands out, like no matter what. You know, it's just everything about it is great. Another one, I think I got two more. Dog Soldiers. You guys ever seen either one? You seen?
We started to watch that with you guys, with you and Carolyn. And something happened and we left.
Yeah, you got to watch that one. It's a
Werewolf, right? It's Werewolf story?
Neil Marshall,
military,
Scottish director.
Yeah,
he also did The Descent. If you ever saw The Descent, which is like number 6 if I had a top 6.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, it's about these like British soldiers that are in the Scottish Highlands, and they're on these maneuvers with like the special forces, and they think they're just playing war games, and they don't realize what they're doing. They're just bait in this kind of war game thing. Well, anyways, it turns out what they actually are is bait for this special ops mission that these special forces guys were doing, which is basically they're trying to capture like a werewolf. So, anyway, but the thing that's cool about this movie you can watch now and you can appreciate is that it's very consciously an homage to movies that came before it. It's got elements of Aliens, of Predator, of Jaws, of The Matrix, of the Evil Dead movies. and I mean, there's lines that are almost like wholesale taken from some of those movies.
Yeah.
Consciously. Like, it's not a rip-off movie because they're very consciously paying homage to some of those moments.
Yeah.
So it's just about these, like, this small group of guys, these soldiers that are kind of holed up in this house, Evil Dead style, and they're trying to fend off these werewolves until morning. And that's it. And, I mean, like I said, it's just a brilliant movie. Like, Kevin McKidd, who's a badass actor, is the main guy in it. Another guy, Liam Cunningham, is a badass actor. Sean Pertwee. Just brilliant actors in this kind of B-movie. But, again, it kind of captures really the spirit of, like, older movies, 80s movies, 90s movies. And it's all practical effects. Like, the werewolves are literally, like, guys in suits on painter's stilts walking around. And it's creepy as fuck because they shoot them in the shadows. The movie's shot in 16mm. It's a creepy as fuck movie. And but again, like, and then there's plenty of these like little Easter eggs of like references to other movies. Like, there's a point where, like, this isn't really revealing anything, but like, there's somebody that's named Spoon in the movie, right? And there's a part where they're looking for him and blah blah blah. Something happens and they're like, "Where's Spoon?" And they're like, "There is no spoon." Like the Matrix reference. And it's stuff that's like cool. That, where these little references that are very aware that you as a viewer, as somebody who watches these types of genre movies, will get it.
I like when they do that because it makes you feel like you're part of that reality a little bit more. Yeah,
like they're including you in the reality of the movie. Exactly. So that's another one to catch. He's got The Descent. He's got what's the other one he's doing? He did He did the one about the lost Roman legion. One of those, not the Eagle, but the other one. Anyways, got a couple of good movies. He did the what the fuck's it called? I don't know. Someone out there will remember what I'm talking about. Anyways, the other movie on my list, the top, I guess it would be number one, is also a remake. I've never seen the original, and I've been dying. Me and Mike have been talking about this, trying to get him to watch this movie one day. Is The Crazies.
Was that Rob Zombie?
No. This is I forgot the guy that directed it, but it's got Timothy Olyphant in it.
Yeah. Okay.
And what's her name? Rhoda Mitchell, and
but it's like a town of
it's a town that's like something happens and people start getting infected from the water, and they're like, it just drives them crazy. They're killers. They're not zombies. They're not monsters. They just want to kill shit. They're just violent. I've seen part of it. Yeah. And for my money, and I always tell Mike this, it's one of the few like movies I've seen in the genre of horror or whatever that is like perfectly done. It's perfectly casted. It's perfectly shot. It's perfectly paced. It's perfect. It makes sense. The world of the movie makes sense, and it's brilliant. And Timothy Olyphant, like, and Mike will attest to it, he's just a fucking like incredible, legendary type of fucking dude actor. He's just great. And even in a movie like this, where if it was somebody else playing those roles or somebody else writing or directing it, it would be maybe it's a schlocky kind of shitty remake of some B movie.
Yeah,
but it's just so well done. And you give a shit because, it's just well done. And the acting is great. So, anyways, that's probably at the top of my list because I can actually rewatch it. It's creepy. It's scary. It obviously has, which a lot of successful horror movies have, is it's got topical relevance, where it works as a good allegory for things that are going on in the world. And, and it's interesting, because now we can say that, right? We're living in a post 9/11 world. People like to say that.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, movies that you've seen, art that you see now, it's all in some way or another reflective of that. The society we live in now, where people are more paranoid, or people are more, unsure of their surroundings, or, and feel isolated. At the same time that everything is becoming globalized with the internet and everything else, you feel more isolated because there is a disconnect, and there is a paranoia that comes with, being too exposed or having too much of yourself out in the world, and makes you vulnerable, makes the people you love vulnerable. And I think movies that explore that, which, like things that are working right now, probably like things like The Walking Dead that you guys watch and stuff, things like that explore those ideas and are successful because, you might have movies that like for example, The Walking Dead, and I can only talk that in the peripheral because I don't watch it, but it catches on with people that aren't just genre people, or people who don't like horror movies. It catches on because it taps into something about people, which, the fears that all people have, that collective unconscious,
Well, I always tell people, because, like, I have friends that don't watch it, or a family that's like, oh, I would never watch it, and I don't care about zombies, and it's stupid. And I said, well, it's not really about the zombies. The zombies are the backstory, like that. It just exists in that world.
Yeah.
But the main part of it is just the human condition, like what people go through.
Struggle.
Yeah, the struggle either against the elements or against surviving or against other people and what horrors they bring. And then, by the way, when you're dealing with all this shit, suddenly you're about to get attacked by a bunch of zombies, and you have to fight that off too.
Yeah.
It's that interesting part of it, and which is what I was referencing earlier when I was saying that the first episode of the new season was so gruesome, and we weren't, like Sarah and I were not used to that with dealing with the humans and only with the zombies.
Yeah.
So I can only see better things coming from hey, they've stepped it up a notch and things are getting freaky.
Yeah.
Like, as far as that kind of a reference, I would have to say to me, another genre of horror would be reality horror, which is you're not dealing with ghosts, paranormal, or vampires, or zombies, or things that are made up or whatever, but the actual human condition itself. And I would have to say Viggo Mortensen in The Road.
Oh, yeah.
It's a horrible film.
Yeah, you seen that, Mike?
Which one?
The Road?
No.
Yeah, it's
it's hard.
Terrible,
it's hard
terrible.
to watch.
I imagine as a father, it's hard to watch.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
even harder.
It really, and I wasn't when I saw it, but like thinking back on it now, I'm like I told Sarah, I was like, look, if shit hits the fan, in all honesty, do we want to exist in that post-apocalyptic world? Do we want to deal with that, or do we want to just go ahead and check out and be like, hey, we're done, we're good? You know, can you imagine having to deal in that kind of a world?
On a day-to-day basis. There's a movie that I just watched finally. It's an older movie. It's a low-budget movie. It's on Netflix, but it's a movie called Stakeland. You heard of that?
It's making me hungry.
If you get a chance,
I want a porterhouse.
Watch it. Maybe it's a good weekend to watch it. 'Cause it's not overly scary, but it's very much has the vibe, the tone of the Road. Yeah. Except it's this. Again, like this post-apocalyptic world, right? Yeah. But it's where there's vampires, where this epidemic of vampires happened, and they've killed off all the people, and people live in these tiny communes, and they kind of are blocked off from each other, and there's this paradise that people think exists, this community somewhere in Canada that everyone's trying to get to. Yeah. And it's a story of this like vampire hunter who's like this renowned guy because he actually fights them. Everyone else is just kind of huddled away, trying to live a life and squalor, and this guy actually kills them. So he actually kills them, and he's well known enough where like he after he kills them, he rips off their fangs. He actually uses their fangs as currency. He can go to a hotel and be like, "Here, I'll give you this, and I'm gonna stay here the night," because that's how prestige, prize this type of thing is in this world. And it's about him, this kid he takes under his wing, and he's trying to train the kid to be a vampire hunter also. And it's very much like The Road in the sense that there's kind of like vignettes where they meet these people, and like as soon as you start to care about people they meet, they die in some horrible way, But anyways, it's worth checking out because again, it's similar to The Road. It's got the same type of vibe. It's not quite because it has more of a horror movie vibe. It's not quite as desolate and realistic. Yeah, but it's worth watching. So the Stakeland. Yeah, and it came out a couple years ago, but it's a good movie.
Check that out.
Yeah.
I think that concludes our movie portion.
Yeah, so let's get back to we were talking about local stuff.
Yeah.
You can visit us on our home on the web at www.itsaguythingpodcast.com, on Instagram and Facebook at It's a Guy Thing Podcast, and Twitter, It's a Guy Thing Pod. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, and we'll be coming soon to many other podcatchers. Thanks for listening.